very basic elementary lessons and guided them, escorted them to the edge of Thai waters and sent them on their way. We have no idea now what the fate of that ship is. Obviously they've been given food and water, but frankly, from looking at the people on board and the state of them, some of them were clearly in need of medical treatment, and they won't get that wandering around in inexperienced hands in the open sea.
Jonathan Head there. Well, joining us from Geneva now is Babar Baloch, who's Asia and America's spokesman for the United Nations Refugee Agency. Mr. Baloch, how do you think this has been handled by those various governments in the region?
All the reports that we are seeing from the region, it's quite worrying actually the way these people are being treated by the governments of the region, in the high seas. What we are looking as UNHCR is asking these governments to go aggressively find those people who are adrift right now, thousands. The numbers vary from 6,000 to 8,000. But they are out there in the sea in desperate situation. Probably you have just screened the images of these people, how their condition is. So these are human beings. First is to save lives. They should be saved from being drifting in the high seas. Then these people should be allowed to disembark and then be provided safety. But that's not there. It's actually mind-boggling that the governments are seeing this, but they're not acting. They're not going out there to save these people.
Can you see any virtue whatsoever in the argument that each one of those governments wants it to be someone else's problem, so they don't have to take ownership and they don't want to have to deal with it, because if the people actually land on their soil, they'll have to do something about them, perhaps give them a home?
Yeah, indeed. I mean, they have an obligation under the international maritime law. The governments have an obligation under the human rights law and other laws. But it's immoral as well, not ethical. I mean, these people, that the images have been now screened for days, and by each passing hour, we're more worried, you know. Do we need to a tragedy like in the Mediterranean for these governments to wake up? We can't understand that.
I suppose the other part of the problem is why these people are put on or get on these boats in such desperate conditions in the first place, and that would appear to be an internal problem in Myanmar, at least in this case. I mean, is there any way that the United Nations can address that part of this problem?
Indeed, the root cause lies in Myanmar in terms of the nationality issues, the politics over there. But immediately for now, let's focus over here. These 8,000 people that have been there in the sea for months, you know. Some of those that have today arrived in Indonesia, in Aceh, and my colleague have spoken to them. It's a desperate situation. I mean, people are just too weak, women and children, and they're looking for safety. So for now, our ask immediately is saving lives. We are asking the governments to go out there, or if there are other ships in the region, other vessels, to save these lives. This is very important at this stage, and then we could look in terms of other issues. We are encouraged that Thailand is asking for a regional meeting for this end of the month, but till then it could be too late for these people.
Indeed, Mr. Baloch, thanks very much for taking the time to talk to us.